Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get some sports talk.
I think so. I think that this is going to be something where the only thing that makes me hesitant is just knowing ownership and being inside that facility where, you know, you walk through the halls there and there's just pictures of him everywhere. And, you know, most franchise quarterbacks, that's the flavor when you visit them at their practice facilities and their stadiums. But I find it to be almost a little...
It's going to be tough. Phillip Rivers is the Chargers. When you have your picture all over the stadium, you know the owner loves you. He trusts you. But this year haven't been the year for Phillip Rivers. If you do try to replace him, who is it going to be? Tyrod Taylor? Easton Sticks? Like, who can replace Phillip Rivers? He one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Even though this year haven't been his year, but he have the numbers to be a Hall of Famer once he done. But it's gonna be tough to fill them shoes if y'all do replace him.
A bit more saturated Phillip Rivers when it comes to the Chargers compared to in New Orleans with Drew Brees. You see Drew's photos there, and they obviously respect him and they love him, but you're not consumed by it. You're not overwhelmed by it. Whereas I feel like with the Chargers, it's a Phillip Rivers organization. He is the face. He's everything there. So that's the only hesitation I have when we think from a performance standpoint, it's time to move on. It may be one of those marriages where it's just hard to leave.
Well, you know, he's in the last year of his deal. He'll turn 38, but they have Tyrod Taylor and Easton Stick behind him right now.
Yeah, their next quarterback
is not on their roster, which is why I think they'll find a way to bridge something with him.
Let's wait. So during free agency, when we knew that they were in the market for a backup quarterback, I just remember getting text messages from sources with the Chargers about this push to get Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, Anthony Lynn's connection to Tyrod when he coached Tyrod in Buffalo. And he is he is all in on Tyrod. And even over the last few weeks, just talking to people there, do you think that there'll be a move in quarterback? Are they going to change? Are they going to sit Phillip Rivers? There's definitely a feel there that there's people that wanted to go to Tyrod Taylor over the last few weeks, but at the end, again, because of what I mentioned at the start of this, their commitment to him, they're just not going to do it. But I think they could try to make that work if they feel after their return from Mexico, it's time for a change.
But we've seen the Tyrod
Taylor is a solid QB. Teams only they don't really too much want Tyrod Taylor to start because he's conservative. He one of the type quarterbacks that take care of the football and play management. They don't want that. That's why Buffalo let him go. That's why the Browns moved on, because they want to take risks down the field. Tyrod Taylor, he'll take a risk now and then. That's why he lost the 2 jobs. Because he's conservative. There's nothing wrong with having a tight quarterback like that. I understand you want to go down the field, but you also want a quarterback to protect the football.
Taylor thing, right?
Yeah,
we've seen how this
We've
works.
seen Tyrod Taylor is usually efficient and doesn't turn the ball over.
Well, that's the thing. That's why he lost the job in Cleveland. He was turning the ball over.
Tyrod's 3
going
years
back to Buffalo.
Yeah,
Buffalo's 3 years where he started at least 14 games. He was in low single digits in interceptions. He didn't turn the ball over. But it's like one of those things, we've seen him around a lot, so it's like anything, the more you know about someone, it's like the worse it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think they're going to make him the quarterback of the future there.
No, that will remain to be seen. ESPN NFL reporter Diana Rossini joining us in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart. Diana, you were also out in Baltimore over this weekend. I I want an interesting perspective. We'll get to Lamar Jackson in a second, but you also spent a lot of time around the Saints, so you've been around Mark Ingram a lot. What does Mark Ingram do to a locker room? Because it seems like not only this team operating and firing on all cylinders, but they're having a blast doing it. He seems to be leading the charge.
Yeah, I actually was talking to him this past Sunday about this transition going from New Orleans to Baltimore. Obviously, that was a big storyline going into the season, but now he's really successful here with the Ravens. He said, I just feel like they're just using me more here. And obviously, if you look at the Saints offense with Alvin Kamara there and obviously having a fantastic passer in Drew Brees, they weren't utilizing.
He was clearly the second option down there.
Exactly, and it makes sense. And he understood that.
Yeah.
But you can tell he just feels appreciated there. And you would think that he's been with the Ravens longer than he has, just based on his interactions with everybody. And his relationship with Lamar Jackson is
like everyone just want to see how Ingram will operate when not being in a Saints system. He came to a system that fits him because you have a quarterback that runs so well. It's a running system mixed with passing, but he fit this system right here. That's why he emerged out of that Saints system into this system, because you go into a system that fit everything you do. Because they will run the football. And he fit right in with the Ravens. And that's why he's having a good year in Baltimore.
He's great, just like everyone's is. But no, he certainly has the ability. He's likable. He's a team guy. And look, he's productive. He's got 10 touchdowns this year already. And going back to, I know you said that everyone just wants to talk about Lamar. I actually didn't want to talk about Lamar on Sunday. And so I was just going up to players in the locker room. I wanted to spend my Sunday night talking to SportsCenter and Van Pelt's show about the defense, because I know I was crushing them on NFL Live week in and week out about, look, they're not good at all. So just talking to these guys on defense, they would admit that they're not good, which I think is always respected, or at least I respect that. They're like, look, we are not great. We're just okay right now. And talking to John Harbaugh about it, I asked him, I said, look, your defense said that you're not that good. He goes, we're not. We're still trying to figure out how to gel. We have a lot of moving parts here that we need to still find our identity. Yet
that's how Baltimore is built. They built a defense. That's how their organization always been. Have a good defense. But this defense is okay. Like, these players ain't lying. They've been doing good the last past weeks, but they know they better than that. But when you got new players that's part of that Baltimore culture of defense, everything is new. Everything not gonna gel right away. It's gonna be some games that you play like a top 10 defense. There'll be some games that you play all right defense. They know they better than that. Because they still got new pieces. They still trying to fill in and get them all the way evaluated with this defense, how they want to run it.
we're able to shut down the Houston Texans. So that's the potential for them. The sky's the limit. But again, you talk to anyone on this team, they're not going to talk about them. They're going to talk about Lamar. It just will go there. And even when I don't want to talk about him, they're like, well, we got eight. Yeah. We got Lamar. And he's got this ability to really bring this team together.
Diana Rossini with us in studio. But to your point, that defense has really flipped. Marcus Peters has been balled out since he came over in the trade with the Rams when they were trying to clear cap space for Jalen Ramsey, when they have to sign him. And the other thing is,
Marcus Peters, you thought he was done. The Rams felt like he wasn't that guy for them. They felt like he was giving up too many deep passes. So they moved him to Baltimore. He emerged back to a Pro Bowl type corner again. When you go to someone that believes in your abilities to help them on the back end, you're going to emerge again. And that's what he did. He went to an organization that's known for defense. Harbaugh is a defensive-minded coach as well. And Marcus Peters made an impact as soon as he stepped foot in Baltimore. Because You have someone that believe in you to help this defense turn around. And that's what he's doing.
Jimmy Smith came back. And you put Jimmy Smith back there, who is not, he's a really good corner. He's not a great corner. He's a really good corner. You put him on the other side of Marcus Peters, and you have something there in that secondary now.
So I was talking to Jimmy about their sort of just how they work after wins, right? So, you know, the saying that success is like a martini, it relaxes you. Sometimes you don't pay attention.
Which is why I've always been a big martini guy. It's pretty obvious.
You tend to miss the things you need to work on after success versus when you lose, you want to fix everything. So I was asking them about how they're handling success. And Earl Thomas was standing right next to Jimmy. And, he said, well, we're going to right. Jimmy goes, we're going to right back, and look at film tomorrow morning. Like we fix everything. Earl goes, why are you lying? Let her go on SportsCenter and say, we actually have fun. Tonight we hang out right after the game, all of us. We meet up, we're going to party a little bit. We'll go home in a normal hour, but yeah, we're going to be working tomorrow. But it was so clear that Earl wanted me to know that they like to have fun as well. And
like that.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
It sounds like typical, these guys are having fun, but I do think that's part of why this locker room's working. They like each other.
Like, it's not that he probably was lying. Because you know how this media works. You say one thing, then they edit that out and make it seem like you're being arrogant or cocky or something. That's how this ESPN thing works. They say something that you did not say. That's why he tried to be conservative. But deep down, he know they having fun. They're sitting at 8-2. They're enjoying themselves, but he just try to be cautious to what he say to reporters.
They like each other, and they're trucking people, man.
It's amazing what winning does.
Yeah, that was the first blowout loss of Deshaun Watson's public career.
Yeah.
Again, either in college or in the NFL, and it was a big one by 34 points. Listen, you classed up the joint today, and for that we appreciate it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis,